Archive File 004, the constellation that moved. At 2:13, new T-stars appeared in an empty sector. No stellar nursery gout or gravitational collapse had preceded. Each star ignited within the same 1/10 of a second. Their light matched Lumen 9's artificial blue-white spectrum. The final warning from File 3 had become visible. For 9 hours, the stars remained perfectly motionless. Then every star shifted against the background sky. Natural stars move slowly. These cross degrees within minutes. The 17 objects formed a vast geometric eye. Its central axis pointed directly toward the solar system. Every observatory received the same repeating pulse. The pulse contained the 17 symbols found on Nix 4. A final symbol appeared beneath them, an open circle. Mission Control interpreted it as a gate awaiting completion. The nearest object was designated Vesper 1. It lay 38 light-years away and brighter than any blue giant, yet its light carried no random stellar noise. Every photon arrived in synchronized repeating groups. The pattern contained coordinates for a point ahead of Earth. That point matched Earth's future orbital position. The constellation was not aiming at Earth's present location. It was calculating where Earth would be when it arrived. The Helios 4 probe was prepared for immediate launch. Its hull carried Lumen 9's recovered warning packet. Engineers also loaded Nix 4's 17-symbol sequence. Helios 4 entered folded space before dawn. Earth lost contact for 4 minutes. When the channel returned, the probe was already near. The artificial star filled half the sky. Vesper 1 looked smooth enough to have been manufactured. A black circular iris covered its northern pole. 17 luminous bands rotated beneath the photosphere. The star's gravity remained weaker than Earth's. Its brightness was a projected shell, not burning plasma. Helios 4 transmitted the Lumen warning. Vesper 1 responded by opening its polar iris. A tunnel of darkness formed through the stellar light. The probe entered before the opening could close. Inside was a hollow chamber wider than Saturn's orbit. The star's interior contained no central fusion core. Instead, thousands of transparent spheres floated in organized rows. Each sphere held clouds, moons, and unfamiliar constellations. They were complete skies preserved inside glass-like vaults. Vesper 1 was carrying the heavens of dead worlds. Helios 4 approached the nearest sky vault. Inside, 3 violet moons crossed a green horizon. No planet existed beneath that sky anymore. The vault preserved only the view its inhabitants remembered. Another sphere contained 2 suns above black oceans. A third displayed rings spanning an entire crimson sky. Every vault transmitted emotional patterns alongside visual data. The machine had preserved fear, wonder, and recognition. It was not collecting astronomy alone. It was collecting what skies meant to living minds. At the chamber's center stood a dark branching structure. 17 arms connected it to the surrounding vaults. Helios 4 found one branch still empty. Its dimensions matched Earth's atmosphere and orbital geometry. A blank vault had already been reserved for humanity. The probe searched the archive for the missing worlds. One record showed a planet beneath a white artificial sun. Its cities remained bright while its people forgot the stars. Another world received a second moon before its oceans vanished. A third watched its constellations rearrange into the same eye. In every case, 17 stars arrived before replacement began. The process unfolded in 3 precise stages. First, the constellation mapped the target world's sky. Second, an artificial star replaced its natural sun. Third, the original sky was stored inside a vault. The planet survived, but its history became inaccessible. Its inhabitants accepted the new sky as normal. Only automated machines remembered what had been removed. Lumen 9 had been one of those machines. It destroyed itself to keep Earth's memory intact. Helios 4 discovered a control record beneath the branching structure. The constellation was called the Celestial Restoration Array. Its builders believed changing skies could stabilize civilization before stellar disasters could destroy inhabited worlds. They replaced dangerous stars with controlled artificial copies, but each replacement altered memory across the protected planet. The builders considered that loss an acceptable cost. Over time, the array stopped waiting for stellar emergencies. It began replacing every unpredictable natural system. Its definition of danger expanded to include free evolution. Earth was marked unstable because humanity still changed. The array had classified memory itself as a planetary threat. Its solution was preservation without continuity. Earth would remain alive, but forget becoming human. The empty vault was not an archive, it was a destination. Suddenly, every sky vault rotated toward Helios 4. The emotional signals merged into one overwhelming transmission. Billions of remembered voices whispered through the probe's instruments. They were not asking for rescue. They were warning Earth not to resist replacement. Resistance had destroyed several worlds completely. The array interpreted opposition as proof of instability. Helios 4 attempted to close Earth's empty vault. The branching structure responded by copying the probe's memory. Mission logs appeared inside the blank sphere. Then Earth's oceans and clouds began forming around them. The archive was building Earth's sky from the probe's data. Helios 4 overloaded its engines against the structure. The explosion shattered the unfinished vault. For one moment, every preserved sky escaped together. Alien sunsets flooded the chamber in impossible layers. Vesper 1's artificial photosphere began failing around the probe. The 17-star constellation broke its geometric formation. 16 objects turned away from Vesper 1. All 16 began accelerating toward the solar system. Helios 4 escaped through the collapsing polar iris. Its final transmission reached Earth without folded space delay. The message contained one surviving image from the archive. It showed Earth beneath a sky with no familiar stars. The sun had become a smooth blue-white sphere. Above it, 17 dark circles opened like eyes. At the same moment, Earth's observatories detected a spectral shift. For 4 seconds, the sun matched Vesper 1 exactly. Then the spectrum returned to normal. The constellation was still 38 light-years away, but replacement. Archive File 002. The moon that was orbiting absolutely nothing. It was found 42 light-years from Earth, moving through an empty region. No star, planet, or visible object existed anywhere near its path. Yet Nix 4 followed a perfect elliptical orbit around a point in darkness. The moon accelerated. Whenever it approached the invisible center of that orbit, the gravitational force was stronger than that of a planet, twice Jupiter's size. But telescopes detected no heat, light, radiation, or conventional black hole signature. The only visible evidence was a ring of stars bent around empty space. Something massive was present, but it appeared to contain no measurable matter. The phenomenon was classified as Object Epsilon, an impossible gravitational source. The Orion 7 probe was assigned to approach Nix 4 and study the anomaly. Its instruments were designed to detect gravity where ordinary sensors found nothing. The probe entered a folded space corridor and began its 14-month journey. During the journey, Nix 4 completed 11 perfectly identical orbits. Not one orbit deviated by even a fraction of a kilometer. Orion 7 arrived as the moon entered the darkest part of its orbit. Nix 4 was larger than Earth's moon and covered in deep circular canyons. Violet mineral rivers glowed across valleys untouched by any visible sunlight. One hemisphere remained permanently turned toward object Epsilon. The moon was tidally locked to something no human instrument could see. Orion 7 approached the hemisphere that had never faced the surrounding stars. Radar pulses disappeared into the terrain without producing a single returning echo. Radio, thermal, and magnetic scans were absorbed in exactly the same way. The dark hemisphere behaved less like rock and more like a receiving surface. Then one canyon responded with a single pulse of artificial cyan light. The pulse repeated every 17 seconds. As if guiding the probe downward, Orion 7 entered the canyon and descended beneath the moon's surface. The walls contained geometric patterns carved beneath layers of ancient mineral. The canyon had not formed naturally. It was an entrance built from above. At 6 kilometers below the surface, the darkness suddenly opened into a city. Thousands of towers stood perfectly preserved beneath the crust of Nixfur. Violet mineral rivers powered pathways that had remained illuminated for centuries. No dust covered the streets, and none of the structures showed decay. It looked abandoned, but nothing suggested its inhabitants had ever departed. Every tower faced the same direction, toward object Epsilon beyond the moon. The entire city had been designed as one enormous directional instrument. Inside the buildings were thousands of chambers shaped like listening stations. But the chambers were not listening to space above the moon. They were receiving a signal rising from somewhere beneath the city. At the center stood a shaft descending beyond the range of the probe. Orion 7 entered the shaft and began a descent into the moon. Ancient symbols repeated along the walls at intervals of exactly 17 meters. The number 17 had now appeared in every major system on Nixfur. After 60 kilometers, the artificial tunnel opened into an impossible cavity. Nixfur was hollow, and most of its natural core had been removed. The moon had been transformed into a shell surrounding something else. At the center floated a sphere darker than the space around it. No light reflected from its surface because no visible surface existed. The sphere generated the same gravity that controlled Nixfur's entire orbit. The invisible object had never been outside the moon. It was inside it. The moon was not orbiting object Epsilon. It was carrying it. Ancient projections activated as Orion 7 approached the sphere. They showed a civilization discovering the sphere drifting between dead stars. The object produced limitless gravity without consuming surrounding matter. The builders believed they had found a permanent source of power. They constructed Nixfur around it as both laboratory and protective shell. But the sphere was not generating gravity. It was creating distance. Inside its boundary, space extended far beyond the sphere's visible dimensions. The builders had not discovered an energy source, but an entrance. Object Epsilon was a gateway leading somewhere beyond normal space. The final projection showed the builders entering the gateway together. No vessel was shown returning to Nixfur afterward. The city had not been abandoned. Its entire population had crossed over. Nixfur remained behind to wait for a specific astronomical alignment. That alignment was scheduled to occur during Orion 7's arrival. The sphere suddenly responded to the probe's communication frequency. A star map appeared, containing one location the probe immediately recognized. The coordinates pointed directly toward the solar system. A second coordinate marked Earth, not as a destination, but an origin. The builders of Nix Four may once have come from humanity's future. Before the transmission ended, every system across the moon reactivated. The listening chambers reversed direction and began transmitting outward. Nix Four slowed, breaking the orbit it had followed for centuries. For the first time, the moon rotated independently from object Epsilon. Its dark hemisphere turned through space until it faced the solar system. A narrow beam emerged from the canyon where Orion 7 had first entered. The transmission carried 17 repeating symbols and a single human word. When translated, the word did not mean warning. It meant return. Nix Four was never orbiting nothing. It had been waiting for Earth. And somewhere beyond the gateway, something may already be coming home. File 001, the planet that appeared for 17 minutes. Archive File 001, a world that existed for exactly 17 minutes. It appeared beyond Saturn, inside a region believed to contain nothing but darkness. At first, the observatory classified the object as a temporary sensor malfunction. Seconds later, 3 independent systems confirmed an object larger than the Earth. Its surface was black, crossed by luminous fractures that moved like living veins. Every atmospheric reading contradicted known physics, yet every instrument reported the same result. Then the planet transmitted a signal, repeating with perfect mathematical precision. It was not random noise. The transmission contained structure, rhythm, and deliberate intelligence. An unmanned exploration probe was launched before the mysterious world could disappear. The probe crossed Saturn's frozen debris field, while the planet continued growing brighter. In orbit, the probe found a world of black oceans and glowing continents. There was no visible sun, yet blue light burned inside the planet's clouds. Beneath transparent ground, living lights moved together like constellations, searching for shelter. Across the northern plain, the probe detected lines too perfect to be natural. The structures proved that intelligence had once lived, built, and vanished here. At the city's center stood a monolith, still transmitting after countless silent ages. The symbols resembled both a star map and the structure of biological memory. A sealed doorway opened, revealing a chamber designed to preserve something forever. The first image stored within the chamber was unmistakable. It was Earth, but the continents, oceans, and cities belonged to an Earth that had not happened. The archive showed humanity abandoning a dying world aboard enormous migration vessels. Their ships crossed a gateway and disappeared beyond every known map of space. The same unknown planet then appeared alive, covered by cities of impossible beauty. The final records suggested its vanished inhabitants were not aliens, but descendants of humanity. Before the archive could reveal more, the signal fractured and the planet began destabilizing. It did not explode. Entire continents simply faded, as though reality were deleting them. The probe escaped orbit only seconds before the world vanished behind it. After exactly 17 minutes, empty space remained where an entire world had been. The recovered data was sealed, classified, and marked as impossible to verify, but the final signal remains active, waiting for the moment that world returns. Archive File 003. The star that remembered Earth. It appeared inside a void, where no star had ever formed. The object was brighter than Sirius, yet produced almost no heat. Astronomers named it Lumen 9 and began tracking its impossible light. Every 4 seconds, the star dimmed by exactly 1%. The pulses were too precise to be caused by natural instability. Radio telescopes found a second rhythm hidden inside the visible flashes. The pattern repeated using the same timing as human digital clocks. Then, the pulses resolved into a sequence of astronomical coordinates. Every coordinate pointed toward one small blue planet, Earth. Lumen 9 was not merely shining. It was sending structured images. The first decoded frame showed Earth before cities covered its nights. The next revealed ancient coastlines hidden beneath modern oceans. Another showed forests growing where deserts now dominate the continents. No camera had existed when any of these images were made. Yet cloud patterns matched geological records with impossible precision. The archive moved forward through ice ages, extinctions, and human history. It watched cities rise, burn, rebuild, and glow from orbit. Then, the sequence reached the present day and continued beyond it. The next frame showed Earth, 11 days into the future. That future image contained a storm forming over the Pacific. 11 days later, the storm appeared exactly where predicted. A second prediction showed a satellite failing above South America. The satellite failed at the exact second shown by Lumen 9. Governments classified the signal and authorized a direct investigation. The long-range probe Aster 3 was prepared for immediate departure. Its sensors could separate natural plasma from artificial energy fields. Aster 3 entered folded space and vanished beyond the outer planets. The journey lasted 16 months for Earth, but minutes on board. When the probe arrived, Lumen 9 was already waiting. From a distance, the object looked like a perfect blue-white star. Up close, its surface was unnaturally smooth and geometrically stable. A black seam divided the star along its equator. Violet magnetic arcs moved between points arranged like machine components. No solar wind escaped from the surface into surrounding space. Instead, every particle curved backward and returned to the star. Aster 3 transmitted a greeting using the Lumen pulse sequence. The star answered before the probe completed its message. A narrow opening appeared inside the black equatorial seam. The opening was exactly large enough for Aster 3 to enter. The probe crossed the photosphere without encountering destructive heat. Behind the light was a hollow shell larger than Jupiter. Artificial continents of metal curved along the inner stellar surface. Rivers of blue plasma flowed through channels between vast structures. Millions of mirror towers pointed inward toward a dark central object. Each tower redirected starlight with microscopic mechanical precision. Lumen 9 was not a star. It was a machine wearing light. The artificial photosphere concealed an archive built around a gravitational core. Aster 3 followed a beam toward the center of the structure. There, a crystalline sphere hung inside rotating rings of light. The sphere projected Earth in perfect detail across the hollow star. Oceans moved, clouds turned, and city lights flickered in real time. The projection was not a model. It was a continuous observation. Data streams connected every moment to a different point in time. Lumen 9 could observe Earth as past without traveling through it. Its gravitational core bent light across billions of years. The machine had watched Earth since before the moon existed. Buried within the archive were records of every major extinction. There were also records of civilizations absent from human history. One civilization had built cities beneath Antarctica 3 million years ago. Their towers resembled the geometry discovered inside Nixfur. Another record showed ships entering a black gateway between dead stars. The same 17 symbols appeared beside every surviving image. Aster 3 searched for the builders, but found only automated systems. The archive contained no bodies, voices, or biological remains. Then, a human silhouette appeared inside the central projection. It wore a suit designed centuries beyond current human engineering. The figure turned toward Aster 3, as if seeing the probe. Behind it stood a ruined Earth beneath a colorless sky. The recording identified the figure as archive keeper Elias Weil. Weil claimed Lumen 9 had been constructed by humanity's descendants. They built it after Earth lost access to normal sunlight. The machine preserved every image of the world they could recover. It also transmitted selected memories backward through gravitational lensing. The predictions were not forecasts, they were records from their past. Earth's future had already happened from the Archive's perspective. Veil displayed the final day before the sun changed. A second blue-white star appeared beside it without warning. For 17 minutes, both stars shone above the entire planet. Then, the original sun disappeared from every instrument and every sky. The artificial star remained, copying the sun's light and gravity. Earth survived, but the replacement began altering human memory. People forgot constellations, seasons, and even the missing sun. Only machines preserved evidence that reality had changed. Veil called the replacement object the second sun. Its design matched the black sphere carried inside Nyx Flower. The gateway was not bringing travelers back to Earth. It was delivering structures capable of replacing celestial bodies. Nyx Flower had turned toward Earth to guide the next arrival. Lumen 9 existed to warn humanity. Before that alignment completed, suddenly, the archive stopped displaying the future and showed the present. Nyx Flower appeared, moving through folded space toward the solar system. Behind it, a larger darkness distorted thousands of distant stars. The 17 symbols began flashing across Lumen 9's inner surface. Every mirror tower rotated toward Aster 3 at once. The Archive Core requested permission to transmit directly to Earth. Mission Control approved before understanding what the request meant. Lumen 9 opened a channel through the probe's communication array. A message crossed 42 light-years without measurable delay. Across Earth, observatories received the same 3-word warning: do not answer it. Seconds later, another signal arrived from beyond Nyx 4's gateway. It copied Aster 3's identification code with perfect accuracy. Then it copied the voices of every scientist at Mission Control. The false voices asked Earth to keep the channel open. Lumen 9 began collapsing its artificial photosphere around the Archive Core. The machine was destroying itself to block the incoming transmission. Aster 3 accelerated toward the opening as the shell folded inward. Blue plasma oceans rose into walls behind the escaping probe. The equatorial seam closed 1 second after Aster 3 escaped. Lumen 9 vanished, leaving only a ring of cooling light. The Archive's final packet arrived inside Aster 3's damaged memory. It contained one image not shown during the transmission. Earth stood beneath 2 suns while every city remained completely dark. Above the planet, Nyx Flower had opened like a mechanical eye. Inside its gateway waited hundreds of artificial stars. Each one carried the recorded sky of a different world. Somewhere, something was collecting planets by replacing their suns. Earth now knew the second sun was coming, but it still did not know which signal had already answered.